I'm Peter Piot, and I was one of the co-discoverers of the Ebola virus in 1976. In 1976, when I was 27 years old, I was in training for microbiology and infectious diseases, and one day in September we received a blood sample coming by commercial flight from Kinshasa, the capital of what was then called Zaire, and it came with a question mark, yellow fever or not, and it was from a Belgian nun who had died with what could be yellow fever, but what we today know is Ebola. So we isolated the virus, and to our big surprise, when we looked at the virus under the electron microscope, it was something completely different from what we had expected. So we sent the samples to Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, who could confirm that this was indeed a new virus. The real adventure was then afterwards was to figure out what is this epidemic about. So I went to Congo, to Zaire. An epidemic of unknown origin and transmission, which is really frightening. Then you ask, is this transmitted by mosquitoes, by food, by water? You ask basically three questions: time, place, and person. And time, you try to see what's the pattern. We saw that it started in August, went up dramatically, and then was going down slowly. Secondly, place. Where are the people who were victims of this epidemic? And then thirdly, person. Who are the people who are affected, who died? And you do two simple things. You divide them by age and sex. And what we found was that there were more women than men infected and died. That's not normal. That's strange. And secondly, that was particularly the case for women between 20 and 30 years old. It took us a few hours to find out because we were a bunch of men, and but the difference between men and women between 20 and 30 is that women can get pregnant. And indeed, when we checked the hospital records, the records we had collected from the villages, it turned out that the excess of women at that age were all pregnant women, and they had all gone to the antenatal clinic, and then we wondered, but what happened there? And then it turned out that nearly everybody received an injection. The problem was that there were only 5 syringes and needles. And so the same needles and syringes were reutilized every time. And so it's enough that one person with Ebola gets there, gets an injection for whatever reasons, and then the next one is of course directly infected. So that's the story. In a few days' time we found that, and then of course afterwards we had to confirm it.